Me and my crew of the Velvet Underworld channels would really love to hear how things are going on at your place. Or you could share it to the comment sections so that we could connect with each other. Uh, we would love to build a community of people who love touching stories about mafia bosses. Now, let's enjoy today's stories, shall we?
The first time I saw him, I was scraping congealed cheese off a vinyl booth at 2:30 in the morning, my third double shift that week. I didn't know that the man in the worn leather jacket, sitting alone in the corner with coffee he hadn't touched, would become the reason I learned to breathe again. I was just trying to survive another night at Rosie's diner, and he was just another customer I'd forget by morning. Nothing special, nothing memorable, nothing that should have changed my entire life. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with the truth. I was 28 years old, and I had already given up on being seen. Not invisible in the literal sense. God knows I was too fat for that. At 240 pounds stuffed into a size 22 uniform that Rosie ordered in bulk because girls like me cycled through her diner like seasonal allergies, I was impossible to miss. People saw me. They just didn't look. There's a difference. The night shift. Regulars knew me as the fat one or sweetheart if they were feeling generous. The morning crew knew me as the girl who cleaned up their messes and never complained. My mother knew me as her greatest disappointment, the daughter who'd had so much potential before she let herself go. I knew myself as tired. Tired of the fluorescent lights that made my skin look gray. Tired of the smell of burnt coffee and fryer grease that clung to my hair no matter how many times I washed it. Tired of smiling at men who snapped their fingers at me, who called me honey, and left prayer cards instead of tips, who looked through me like I was part of the furniture. I worked 3 jobs. Rosie's from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 5 nights a week. A data entry gig from home during the afternoons when I could keep my eyes open. And weekends at a call center, taking abuse from people who were probably having better days than me, but needed someone to scream at anyway. I lived in a studio apartment in a building that smelled like cat piss and disappointment. I had $17 in my checking account until Friday. I ate ramen and the burnt toast Rosie let me have for free. I hadn't bought new clothes in 2 years. I hadn't been on a date in 5. I hadn't believed in hope in longer than I could remember. So when he walked in that Tuesday night in October, I didn't feel anything special. I just felt tired. He took the corner booth, the one all the solo late-night people took because it faced the door and had a clear view of the parking lot. Smart, my brain registered automatically, aware of his surroundings. Probably ex-military or ex-cop or just ex-something that taught him to never sit with his back exposed. I grabbed the coffee pot and headed over. "Coffee?" I asked, not really looking at him. "Please." His voice surprised me. Deep, quiet, and sad? No, that wasn't quite right. Tired, maybe. Tired in a way that matched my own exhaustion, but came from a different source. I glanced up, and immediately looked away. He was beautiful in that way that hurt to look at. Dark hair that needed a cut, falling across his forehead. Sharp jaw shadowed with stubble that was a day or two past rugged and heading toward unkempt. Eyes that I couldn't quite make out in the diner's lighting, but felt dark and intense even from my brief glance. Men who looked like that didn't talk to women who looked like me. Not really. Not unless they wanted something, or were about to say something cruel disguised as helpful advice about my health. I poured his coffee and started to turn away. "Do you have pie?" I stopped. "Cherry, apple, or chocolate cream. The cream's fresh today. The others are from yesterday, but they're still good." "I'll take the cream." A pause. "Thank you." I nodded and walked away, feeling his eyes on my back. Or maybe I was imagining it. I was always imagining things like that. Attention that wasn't there. Kindness that didn't exist. When I brought him the pie, he was staring out the window at nothing. The parking lot was empty except for my 15-year-old Honda and his truck, a Dodge Ram that had seen better days but was clean and well maintained. "Anything else?" I asked, setting down the plate. "No," This is perfect. He looked up at me, and I caught it this time. His eyes were dark brown, almost black in the fluorescent lighting. What time do you get off? My stomach clenched. Here it comes, I thought. The proposition. The offer. The thing that made me feel like every single person in the world saw me as either a joke or a desperate last resort. 7, I said flatly. And I'm not interested. His eyebrows rose. In what? Whatever you're about to offer. For a moment, he just looked at me. Then, instead of getting angry or defensive or any of the things men usually did when rejected before they even made their move, he smiled. Small, barely there, but genuine. I was going to ask what time the breakfast crowd starts coming in. I'm trying to avoid people. Heat flooded my face. Oh, around 6:30 usually. Construction crews and early commuters. Good to know. Thank you. I nodded and practically fled to the kitchen, my face burning. Rayanne, the cook, gave me a look. You okay, Marin? Fine, just tired, she snorted. Girl, you're always tired. When's the last time you slept more than 4 hours? I don't remember. That's what I thought. She flipped a burger that nobody had ordered, one of the batch she made for the freezer during slow hours. Who's the guy? What guy? The one in the corner who you ran away from like your ass was on fire. Just a customer. Uh-huh. Rayanne had worked at Rosie's for 20 years. She was 53, had 4 kids, 3 ex-husbands, and exactly 0 patience for bullshit. He's been staring at you since you brought him coffee. He's not. I glanced through the order window. He was looking down at his pie, cutting it into neat pieces with the side of his fork. He's just tired, like everyone else who comes in here at 3 in the morning. If you say so. But when I glanced back 5 minutes later, he was watching me wipe down tables. When I looked up, he didn't look away. He just raised his coffee mug slightly, a request for a refill, and went back to his pie. I refilled his coffee 3 times that night. He didn't speak except to say thank you. He left a 20 on a $7 tab and was gone before I could bring him change. I should have known then, should have recognized the pattern. But I was too used to being invisible, too used to people being kind for 30 seconds before remembering I wasn't worth their time. So I cleaned the table, pocketed the $13 tip, the biggest I'd gotten all week, and told myself I'd never see him again. I was wrong. He came back the next night. Same time, same booth, same coffee and pie and quiet presence that somehow made the diner feel less empty. He nodded at me when I brought his order, said thank you when I refilled his coffee, left another 20 on the table. And the night after that. And the night after that. By the end of the first week, it was a routine. He'd arrive at 2 a.m. on the dot. I'd pour his coffee before he even sat down. He'd order chocolate cream pie, always chocolate cream now, and sit in his booth, sometimes reading a newspaper, sometimes just staring out the window. He never talked beyond basic pleasantries, never asked personal questions, never made me uncomfortable. And that, somehow, made me more uncomfortable than anything else. Because men like him, beautiful men, men who moved like they owned every space they walked into, men who wore expensive watches hidden under worn jackets, didn't spend their nights in shitty diners unless they were running from something or looking for something. I didn't know which one he was. I didn't know I was about to become both his refuge and his reckoning. On the 8th night, Tommy Lewis came in drunk. Tommy was a regular, one of the construction guys who stopped by most mornings for coffee and eggs before heading to whatever job site was paying cash that week. He was harmless when sober, handsy when drunk, and currently stumbling through the door at 2:45 a.m. with whiskey on his breath and meanness in his eyes. Marin, he bellowed, loud enough to make Rayanne curse from the kitchen. There's my favorite fat girl. I kept wiping down the counter, didn't look up. This was nothing new. This was just Tuesday, except it was Wednesday, except it didn't matter because every night bled into the next, and Tommy was always going to be Tommy. Coffee, Tommy? Nah, nah. He lurched toward the counter, nearly tripped over his own feet. I want to know something. I want to know why a pretty face like yours got wasted on a body like that. My hands stilled on the counter. Keep smiling, I told myself. Just keep smiling. He'll get bored and leave. It's a real shame, Tommy continued, warming to his subject the way drunks did when they found an audience. You got that cute smile, those nice eyes. If you just lost weight, you could probably find yourself a man. Get out of this shithole. Make something of yourself. Thanks for the advice, Tommy. My voice came out flat, dead. Coffee or not? I'm trying to help you, sweetheart. You know how many guys would be interested if you just... That's enough. The voice came from the corner booth. Quiet, but with weight behind it. The kind of voice that made you stop talking and pay attention even if you didn't want to. Tommy turned, squinting at the shadowed figure. Who the fuck are you? He stood up. I'd never seen him stand before. He was always sitting when I approached his booth, and he was always gone by the time I looked up from counting my tips. But now he was standing, and he was tall. 6'2", maybe 6'3", with shoulders that filled out his worn jacket in a way that suggested muscle, not bulk. Someone who's asking you to leave. He said it calmly, like he was commenting on the weather. Tommy laughed. Or what? Or I'll make you leave. The temperature in the diner dropped about 10 degrees. Even drunk, even stupid, Tommy must have sensed something in the man's tone. Something that said this wasn't a bluff. But Tommy was also drunk enough to be brave. Listen, asshole, I've been coming to this diner for 5 years. I've known Marin since she was thin. I'm trying to help her and you're... The man moved fast. 1 second he was standing by his booth, the next he was in Tommy's space, close enough that Tommy had to tilt his head back to look at him. I'm going to say this once, he said, still in that quiet, calm voice that was somehow more terrifying than shouting. Apologize to the lady. Leave. Don't come back tonight. If I see you here again, we're going to have a different conversation. She's not a lady, Tommy muttered. She's just... I didn't see the man move. 1 second Tommy was talking, the next he was against the wall with a hand around his throat, not choking him, just holding him there, making him understand exactly how easy it would be. Apologize. Okay, okay. Tommy's eyes were wide, suddenly sober. I'm sorry. Marin, I'm sorry. The man let him go. Tommy scrambled for the door, nearly falling twice, and disappeared into the night. Silence filled the diner. You didn't have to do that, I said finally. He turned to look at me, and for the first time, I saw something other than weariness in his expression. Anger, carefully controlled, but definitely there. Yes, he said. I did. He's just drunk. He doesn't mean... Don't. The word cut through my automatic defense. Don't make excuses for him. Don't minimize it. You didn't deserve that. I wanted to argue. Wanted to say that Tommy was right. That I had let myself go. That if I just tried harder, lost weight, smiled more, dressed better, I wouldn't have to deal with... But I couldn't get the words out. Because he was looking at me like I mattered. Like I was worth defending. Like I was... I turned away, busying myself with the coffee pot that didn't need refilling. Thank you, I managed. He was quiet for a moment. Then, what time do you get off? I glanced at the clock. 4 hours. I'll stay. My head snapped around. What? Until your shift ends. I'll stay. He said it simply, like it was obvious. In case he comes back. You can't just... You have to sleep. You have work tomorrow or tonight or... I'm a long-haul trucker, he said, sliding back into his booth. My schedule's flexible, and I was going to be awake anyway. Might as well be awake somewhere I can get decent coffee and better company. Better company. I almost laughed. Almost told him that I was the worst company, that I barely talked, that I was boring and fat and had nothing interesting to say. But there was something in his eyes that stopped me. Something that said he actually meant it. Okay, I heard myself say. Thank you. He nodded and went back to his coffee. And that's how it started. Not with romance or attraction or any of the things the movies promised. Just a man who stayed so I wouldn't be alone with my fear, and a woman too tired to question why. I should have questioned it. Should have asked why a trucker had time to spend hours in a diner 5 nights a week. Should have wondered about the expensive watch he wore, the way other customers gave him a wide berth without being told, the phone calls he took outside that always seemed tense and urgent. But I didn't. Because for the first time in years, someone was seeing me, and I was too hungry for that attention to look too closely at where it came from. His name was Dante. I learned it on the 10th night, when he finally spoke more than a few sentences at once. You've been calling me sir for a week and a half, he said, a hint of amusement in his voice. I think we can graduate to first names. I call everyone sir. I refilled his coffee for the third time. Professional courtesy. Even Tommy? I paused. Tommy hadn't been back since the incident. Tommy's different. How? He's harmless. He's an asshole. No heat in the words, just fact. I shrugged. Most people are, eventually. At least Tommy's honest about it. He studied me for a moment, and I felt exposed, like he could see through all my carefully constructed defenses to the part of me that still, stupidly, hoped for something better. I'm Dante, he said finally. Marin. I know. Heard that asshole say it. His jaw tightened at the memory. It's a beautiful name, I snorted. It's a name. It's not beautiful or ugly. It just is. Like you? I froze. What? You talk about yourself the same way. Like you just are. Not good, not bad. Just existing. Heat crept up my neck. I don't. I'm not. It's okay. He took a sip of his coffee, watching me over the rim. I'm the same way. Existing. Not living. Just surviving. Something in his voice made me look at him, really look at him, for the first time. And I saw the exhaustion that matched my own. The weight of carrying something heavy for too long. The careful control that came from knowing if you let go, you'd shatter. What are you running from? I asked before I could stop myself. He smiled, and it was the saddest thing I'd ever seen. What makes you think I'm running? Nobody spends this much time in a diner at 3 a.m. unless they're running from something, or hiding from something, or both. Smart girl. Not really. I'm here too, aren't I? And I'm definitely running. From what? I should have said nothing. Should have changed the subject, made a joke, retreated behind my professional smile. Instead, I said, the day, the light, the people who know me, the ones who remember when I was thin and had potential and wasn't a disappointment yet. Dante's expression softened. You're not a disappointment. You don't know me. I know you work 3 jobs. I know you're kind to everyone who walks through that door, even the ones who don't deserve it. I know you're tired in a way that sleep won't fix. I know you're here when you could be anywhere else, doing anything else. I'm here because I need the money. Bullshit. The word startled a laugh out of me. Excuse me? You heard me. Money's part of it, sure. But you're here because it's easier than being somewhere else. Being someone else. Because at 3 a.m., nobody expects anything from you except coffee and pie. Because you can be invisible here in a way you can't be anywhere else. I stared at him. How do you know that? Because I'm the same way. He turned his coffee mug in his hands, studying it like it held answers. Different reasons, maybe, but same result. What are your reasons? He was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, I lost someone I loved, and the person I became after that. I don't like him very much, so I come here, where nobody knows him, and I can pretend to be someone else for a few hours. My chest ached. I'm sorry. Don't be. It was my fault. I doubt that. You shouldn't. He looked up, and there was something raw in his eyes. Something that made me want to reach across the table and touch his hand, tell him it was okay, even though I didn't know what it was. Instead, I said, "My mother tells me I'm a disappointment at least once a week. Has been since I was 14 and started gaining weight. Before that, I was her perfect daughter. Thin, pretty, smart, going places. After, well, after, I was just fat. And fat was all she could see. That's her failing, not yours. Is it? Because I'm the one who gained the weight. I'm the one who stopped trying. I'm the one who survived." His voice was firm. "Whatever you went through, whatever happened, you survived it. That's not failure. That's strength." I wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe that my existence was something more than just ongoing failure. But belief was hard when you'd spent 14 years being told the opposite. "Why do you come here?" I asked instead. "Really? There have to be other diners, other places to hide." He smiled, and this time it almost reached his eyes. "The pie's good. The pie's mediocre at best." "True. But the company's better than good." "I barely talk to you." "I know. It's perfect." He finished his coffee and stood, pulling out his wallet. "I like that you don't ask questions I can't answer. I like that you don't expect me to be anyone other than a tired man who drinks too much coffee. I like that you're real in a world that's mostly fake." He left two 20s on the table for a $9 tab. "Same time tomorrow?" he asked. I nodded, unable to speak. "Good." He paused at the door. "For what it's worth, Marin, you're not invisible to me." Then he was gone, and I was alone with Rayanne's knowing look from the kitchen, and the $40 in my hand, and a feeling in my chest that I didn't recognize. It wasn't until later, driving home as the sun came up, that I realized what it was. Hope. And I should have been terrified. Over the next 3 weeks, Dante became part of my routine as surely as the burnt coffee and the fluorescent lights and the ache in my feet. He arrived at 2 a.m. every night I worked. Always the same booth. Always coffee and chocolate cream pie. Always quiet unless I started the conversation. And even then, he let me talk more than he did. I learned things slowly. Small pieces of a puzzle I didn't know I was assembling. He said he was from the East Coast originally, but had been driving trucks for 15 years. He had no family left except a mother he didn't talk to. He liked old movies and good whiskey and the kind of silence that came with driving through empty highways at 3 in the morning. He didn't talk about the woman he'd lost, but sometimes I caught him looking at his phone with an expression that made my chest hurt. He never asked about my weight, never mentioned my body except once, when he said I had beautiful eyes, and even then it was casual, like he was commenting on the weather. He made me laugh. That was the strangest part. I couldn't remember the last time someone had made me genuinely laugh, the kind that came from my belly and made my face hurt. He told terrible jokes, made observations about the other customers that were funny because they were true. Did impressions of Rayanne's disgusted sighs that had me snorting coffee through my nose. "You have a nice laugh," he said one night, watching me try to compose myself after he'd told a particularly stupid pun about construction workers. I wiped my eyes. "I sound like a dying seal." "No, you sound happy. It's a good sound." "I'm not happy." "Right now you are." And he was right. In that moment, at 3:30 in the morning with coffee stains on my uniform and grease in my hair and $17 in my checking account, I was happy. It was terrifying. On the 19th night, he asked if I wanted to take my break with him. "I don't really take breaks," I said, refilling the sugar dispensers. "You've been on your feet for 4 hours." "I'm used to it." "That doesn't mean you should be." I glanced at Rayanne, who made a shooing motion. "Go. It's dead tonight anyway." So I found myself sitting across from Dante in his booth, a cup of coffee I didn't need warming my hands, feeling more nervous than I had in years. "Tell me something real," he said. "What?" "Something real. Something true." Not the polite small talk we've been doing for 3 weeks. Something that matters. I stared at my coffee. Why? Because I want to know you. Not the version of you that serves coffee and smiles through insults. The real you. The real me isn't very interesting. I'll decide that. I took a breath, let it out, took another. I used to want to be a writer. Used to? When I was younger, before everything, I wrote stories, had notebooks full of them. Stupid teenage stuff mostly, but I loved it. I was going to study creative writing in college, get an MFA, write the next great American novel. What happened? My dad died. Heart attack when I was 17. My mom fell apart. I was the only one who could hold things together, so I did. Took care of her, paid the bills with whatever jobs I could get, put college on hold. Temporarily, I told myself. Just for a year or two. And? And a year became 2, became 10. My mom got better, sort of, but by then I was fat and tired and behind on life. College felt impossible. Writing felt stupid. Everything I'd wanted felt like something that belonged to a different person. Do you still write? I shook my head. Haven't in years. Don't even know where those notebooks are anymore. Probably thrown them out during one of the moves. That's a shame. It's reality. Not everyone gets to chase their dreams. Some of us have to work. You could do both. I laughed, bitter. When? Between my 3 jobs and my 4 hours of sleep? When I'm scraping cheese off tables at 4 a.m.? When exactly would I have time to write? Now. I looked up, startled. What? Right now. Tell me a story. I don't. I can't just. Why not? No pressure, no judgment. Just you and me and a story. Make it up as you go. That's not how it works. Then tell me how it works. And somehow, maybe because it was 3 in the morning and I was tired enough to be honest, maybe because he was looking at me like I had something worth hearing, I did. I told him about the story I'd been writing when I was 16, about a girl who lived in a lighthouse and fell in love with the sea, about storms that spoke with her, father's voice and ships that carried away pieces of her heart, about learning to let go and hold on and the difference between the two. I talked for 20 minutes. Dante didn't interrupt once, just listened with complete attention, like my half-remembered teenage story was the most important thing in the world. When I finished, I felt embarrassed, exposed, stupid for sharing something so personal and ridiculous. That's beautiful, he said. It's dumb. It's not. It's sad and hopeful at the same time. Like you. I didn't know what to say to that. You should write again, he continued. Not because you have time, because you need to. Some things aren't about time or money or practical considerations. They're about survival. Writing won't pay my bills. No, but it might save your life. My life doesn't need saving. He looked at me for a long moment. Doesn't it? My break ended before I could answer. I went back to work with my hands shaking and my heart racing and the feeling that something had shifted between us. Something dangerous. Something I couldn't afford. But the next night, I brought a notebook. One of the cheap ones from the dollar store, with a cover that was already peeling. I kept it under the counter and didn't tell anyone about it. Except during my breaks, when I sat with Dante, I wrote. Small things at first. Descriptions of the diner, character sketches of the regulars, fragments of the stories I used to tell myself to stay sane. Dante never asked to read what I wrote, never pushed, just sat with his coffee and his phone and his own quiet thoughts while I filled pages with words I'd been holding in for 10 years. Thank you, I said one night, closing the notebook. For what? For this. For reminding me. I didn't do anything. You did. I met his eyes. You saw me. His expression shifted, softened. Marin, I know it's stupid. I know you're just a customer, and I'm just the waitress, and this is just a diner. And none of this means anything outside of these walls. But for what it's worth, thank you for making me feel like a person again. You are a person. You've always been a person. I know that intellectually, but feeling it is different. I stood, grabbing my notebook. Anyway, thank you. He caught my wrist. Gently, barely any pressure, but enough to stop me. It's not stupid, he said quietly. And it means something to me too. Our eyes met, held, and for a moment, I let myself believe that maybe, possibly, this could be something more than late night coffee and casual conversation. Then his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and his expression went completely blank. I need to take this. He left the diner, stepping into the parking lot. Through the window, I watched him pace, one hand in his hair, his voice sharp even though I couldn't hear the words. When he came back 15 minutes later, he looked older, tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. Everything okay? I asked. Family stuff. He sat back down, but the warmth from earlier was gone. They want me to come home, take care of some things. Are you going? I don't have a choice. There's always a choice. Not for me. He pulled out his wallet, left money on the table. I'm sorry, I have to go, but I'll be back tomorrow. You don't have to. I'll be back. And he was. But something had changed. He was quieter, more distracted. His phone rang more often, and each call seemed to add weight to his shoulders. I wanted to ask, wanted to know what was happening, what was wrong, how I could help. But I was also terrified of pushing too hard and losing even this. So I kept bringing him coffee, kept writing in my notebook during breaks, kept pretending that everything was normal while watching him slowly disappear even as he sat right in front of me. On the 32nd night, he kissed me. It was 4 a.m. The diner was empty except for us. Rayanne had stepped out for a cigarette. I was wiping down the counter, and he was watching me with an expression I couldn't read. Come here, he said. I walked over, cloth still in my hand. He stood up, and suddenly he was very close. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Something expensive and subtle that shouldn't have belonged to a truck driver, but did because he was wearing it. I need to tell you something, he said. My heart hammered. Okay. I'm not. He stopped, started again. I'm not who you think I am. Fear spiked through me. What do you mean? I mean I've been lying to you. About who I am, what I do, why I'm here. Are you married? The question came out before I could stop it. No, not anymore. She's gone. Then what? Let me finish. He took a breath. I came here because I was looking for something. Someone who could see past all the bullshit, past the expectations and the history and the weight of everything I carry. Someone who could look at me and see just me. I don't understand. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not being honest. I'm sorry for using you. You didn't use me. I did. I came here with intentions you didn't know about. I let you believe I was someone I'm not. I let you trust me without earning it. Tears burned my eyes. Then why are you telling me now? Because I can't keep lying to you. He reached up, cupped my face with one hand. His palm was warm and calloused and gentle. Because somewhere along the way, this stopped being about what I needed and started being about what I want. And what I want is you. You don't want me, I whispered. You don't even know me. I know you better than you think. I know you're strong and kind and talented, and so fucking beautiful it hurts to look at you sometimes. I'm not beautiful. I'm fat and ugly and you're perfect. His thumb brushed away a tear I didn't know had fallen. Every single inch of you is perfect. And I'm a bastard for saying this now, for doing this now, but I can't help it anymore. Then he kissed me. It wasn't like the movies. It wasn't smooth or practiced or perfect. It was desperate and clumsy and tasted like coffee and salt from my tears. But it was real. The most real thing I'd felt in years. When he pulled back, I was shaking. "I'm sorry," he said again. "I shouldn't have." I kissed him back. This time it was different. Slower. Deeper. His hands were in my hair, and mine were fisted in his jacket. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt wanted. Not despite my body. Not with caveats or conditions. Just wanted. We broke apart when Rayanne's footsteps sounded outside. Dante rested his forehead against mine, breathing hard. "Come home with me," he said. "I can't. I have 2 more hours on my shift." "After. Please." I should have said no. Should have asked about the lies he mentioned, the truth he was hiding, the person he really was. But I was tired of being careful, tired of protecting myself, tired of being alone. "Okay," I whispered. His smile was like sunrise. The last 2 hours of my shift felt like years. Dante sat in his booth, watching me work with an intensity that made my skin feel hot and my hands shake. Every time I looked at him, he was looking back. Rayanne noticed, of course. "You're going home with him." "Maybe. Definitely. And before you do, I want you to know 2 things." She pointed her spatula at me. "One, you deserve this. Whatever this is, you deserve to be happy. Don't let anyone tell you different. And two, if he hurts you, I will personally castrate him with a rusty spoon." I laughed despite my nerves. "Noted. I'm serious, Marin. You got a good heart. Don't let him break it." "I won't." But even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. He'd already broken it a little just by kissing me. Because now I knew what it felt like to be wanted, and going back to not having that was going to destroy me. When my shift finally ended, Dante was waiting in the parking lot, leaning against his truck. The sun was just starting to rise, painting everything gold and pink and beautiful. "You can change your mind," he said as I approached. "I meant what I said about wanting you, but I don't want to pressure you. I'm not changing my mind." "Okay." He opened the passenger door. "Then let's go." His truck was cleaner on the inside than mine was on the outside. No fast food wrappers or old receipts or any of the debris that accumulated when you lived in your car between jobs. Just clean leather and the faint smell of his cologne. "Where do you live?" I asked as he pulled out of the parking lot. "Not far, 20 minutes." He drove in silence, one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the console between us. I kept my hands in my lap, fidgeting with the hem of my shirt, alternating between excitement and terror. "Are you nervous?" he asked. "Terrified." "Me too." I looked at him in surprise. "Really?" "Really. I haven't done this in a long time, and never with someone who matters this much." "I matter?" "More than you know." He glanced at me. "More than I should probably tell you right now." "Why not?" "Because I'm already scaring you. If I told you everything I was thinking, you'd jump out of this truck while it was still moving." I wanted to argue, wanted to tell him that nothing he could say would scare me away. But I also knew it was probably a lie. We pulled up to an apartment building. Not fancy, but nicer than mine. Brick facade, security door, actual landscaping instead of weeds. "This is you?" I asked. "For now. I'm between places. This is temporary." Another lie, I thought. Another piece that doesn't fit. But I followed him inside anyway, up 3 flights of stairs to a corner unit. His apartment was sparse. Couch, coffee table, TV, kitchen that looked barely used, bedroom visible through an open door. No pictures, no personal items, nothing that said Dante lives here except his jacket thrown over a chair. "It's not much," he said, and for the first time he sounded almost embarrassed. "It's clean. That's more than I can say for my place." "I doubt that. I live in a studio that smells like cat piss even though I don't have a cat. Trust me, this is better." He laughed, and some of the tension eased. "Coffee?" "I think I've had enough coffee for one day." Or one lifetime. Water? Tea? I might have beer somewhere. Water's good. He got us both glasses from the kitchen. I sat on the couch, hyper aware of every movement, every sound. When he sat next to me, close but not touching, I felt the space between us like a physical thing. We don't have to do anything, he said quietly. We can just talk. Or not talk. Whatever you're comfortable with. What if I want to do something? His eyes darkened. Then we will. I set down my water with shaking hands. I need you to know something first. Okay. I haven't. It's been a long time since I've been with anyone, and even then it was. I struggled for words. It wasn't like this. He didn't look at me the way you do. He didn't make me feel the way you do. How do I make you feel? Like I'm not invisible. Dante reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. You were never invisible. The world is just blind. Then he kissed me again, and all the nervousness, all the fear, all the self-consciousness melted away. Because his hands were gentle, and his mouth was sure, and every touch said, "You're beautiful, you're wanted, you matter." He undressed me slowly, reverently, like I was something precious. When I was naked in front of him, I tried to cover myself. Old instinct, old shame. But he caught my hands. "Don't," he said. "Don't hide from me. I'm not, I'm not what you're used to. You're exactly what I want." He touched me like he meant it, traced every curve, every soft place, every part of me I'd spent years hating. And when he said beautiful against my skin, I almost believed him. We made love on his couch because neither of us could wait long enough to make it to the bedroom. It was clumsy and intense and overwhelming, and I cried at the end because I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt this much all at once. After, he held me while I shook, pressed kisses to my hair, told me I was perfect and brave and his. "I love you," he said. And stupid, foolish me, I said it back. I woke up alone. For a moment, I thought it had been a dream. The whole night, the drive, the apartment, Dante saying he loved me, all of it some elaborate fantasy my exhausted brain had conjured up. But I was naked under a blanket that smelled like his cologne, and my uniform was folded neatly on the coffee table with a note on top. "Had to step out for work. Back soon. Stay as long as you want. Coffee's in the kitchen. D." I sat up, pulling the blanket around me. The apartment was quiet. Through the window, I could see it was midday. I'd slept for hours, longer than I had in months. My phone showed 6 missed calls from my mother and a text from Rayanne. "You better be getting some. Text me so I know you're alive." I texted back. Alive. Very much alive. Then I found my clothes and got dressed, because sitting naked in a stranger's apartment felt wrong, even though he'd seen everything, touched everything, loved everything. Loved. God, he said he loved me. And I believed him. I shouldn't have. Should have known better. Should have recognized the signs, the inconsistencies, the lies hiding under the truths. But I was so starved for affection that I swallowed every word like gospel. I was making coffee when I heard voices outside the door. Dante's voice, low and tense, and another voice, female, sharp with authority. "Can't keep avoiding this. The family needs you. I told you I'm handling it. By hiding in some shithole apartment and fucking the help?" My blood went cold. "Watch your mouth." Dante's voice turned dangerous. "She's not. She's a distraction, a phase, and we both know it. You have responsibilities, Dante. Or have you forgotten what happened the last time you put your personal life before the family?" Silence. Then, "I haven't forgotten anything." "Good. Then remember that you have a week to wrap this up and come home. Mother wants you back at the house. We have the Calabrese situation to deal with, and I said I'm handling it. By playing house with a waitress? How is that handling anything?" I didn't hear his response. I was too busy trying not to throw up. Playing house, the help, A distraction. The door opened. Dante walked in, looking tired and angry, and stopped when he saw me standing in his kitchen. Marin. His expression shifted to concern. You're awake. I was going to. Who was that? My voice sounded strange, distant. Nobody. Just, don't lie to me again. He flinched. My sister. And what did she mean by, the family needs you? What family? What responsibilities? It's complicated. Try me. He closed his eyes. I can't. Can't or won't. Both. I set down the coffee mug before I dropped it. Last night you said you were done lying to me. I know. You said you wanted me, that you loved me. I do. I wasn't lying about that. But you're lying about everything else. Tears burned my throat. Who are you? I'm still Dante. I'm still the man who sat in your diner for a month because being around you made everything else bearable. I'm still the man who loves you. But you're also someone else. Someone your sister thinks is too good to be fucking the help. She doesn't know you. She doesn't understand. Then help me understand. The words burst out of me. Help me understand why you lied, who you really are, why someone like you would want someone like me. Someone like me? Rich, powerful, whatever you really are. Because truck drivers don't have apartments like this, don't wear watches that cost more than my car, don't have families with situations that need handling. Dante ran a hand through his hair. You're right. I'm not a truck driver. Then what are you? I can't tell you. Not yet. Not until. Not until what? Not until I'm so in love with you that it doesn't matter? Not until I'm in so deep I can't leave? It's not like that. Then what is it like? I was crying now, angry tears that made everything blur. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I'm the stupid fat girl who fell for a beautiful lie because she was too desperate to see the truth. Stop! He crossed the room, tried to take my hands. Stop saying things like that. You're not stupid, you're not desperate, and you sure as hell aren't just some distraction. I pulled away. Your sister seems to think differently. My sister is a bitch who thinks anyone without a trust fund is beneath us. That's not me. That's not how I see you. How do you see me, Dante? Really? I met his eyes. Because I need the truth, all of it, right now, or I walk out that door and you never see me again. He looked at me for a long moment. I saw the war in his eyes, the choice he was making, the risk he was calculating. Then he said, I'm not ready to lose you. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you right now. His voice broke. Please, Marin. I know I'm asking for too much. I know I don't deserve your trust, but I'm asking for it anyway. Give me a little more time. Just until. Until what? Until I can figure out how to have you and keep you safe. The words hit me like cold water. Safe from what? From my life, my family, my world. It's not. It's not a good world, Marin, and bringing you into it without protection, without preparation, would be putting a target on your back. You're scaring me. I know, and I'm sorry, but if you could just trust me for a little longer. I don't know if I can. His face crumpled. Then I've already lost you. I wanted to tell him no, wanted to say that love was worth the risk, that I trusted him, that whatever secrets he was hiding didn't matter because what we had was real. But I'd spent too many years being lied to, used, dismissed, and even love, especially love, couldn't make me forget that. I need to go, I said. Marin, please. I have to work tonight. I need to sleep. I need to think. Will you come back? To the diner? Will I see you? I didn't answer, just grabbed my purse and walked past him to the door. I love you, he said as I opened it. Whatever happens, whatever you decide, I need you to know that was real, is real. I looked back at him, this beautiful, broken man who'd seen me when no one else would, who'd made me feel like I mattered, who'd lied to me from the very beginning. I don't know what's real anymore, I said. Then I left. I called in sick to my shift at the diner that night. And the night after that. Told Rosie I had the flu, which wasn't entirely a lie. I felt sick, heart sick, soul sick. Rayanne texted me 17 times. What happened? Is he an asshole? Do I need to sharpen my spoon? I didn't answer. My mother called, demanding to know why I'd missed our weekly dinner. I told her I was sick. She said I was probably sick from all the weight I was carrying and suggested I try intermittent fasting. I hung up on her. I spent 3 days in my apartment, alternating between crying and trying to sleep, and staring at the notebook Dante had encouraged me to buy. I'd written half a story in it. Something about a woman who fell in love with a man made of shadows. Something that felt too close to real life. On the fourth day, there was a knock on my door. I opened it to find a woman in an expensive suit, beautiful in that polished, untouchable way that rich people were beautiful. Dark hair, dark eyes, sharp features. Dante's sister. Had to be. You're Marin, she said. Not a question. Who are you? Daniela Valenti. May I come in? No. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. This won't take long. I just need to clarify a few things. I'm not interested. I think you will be, especially when I tell you that my brother has been lying to you about more than just his job. My stomach clenched. What are you talking about? He didn't tell you, did he? About who he really is, what he really does, the reason he's been slumming it in that diner for the past month. Get to the point. The point is this. Dante Valenti is not a truck driver. He's the head of the Valenti family, one of the largest organized crime families on the East Coast. He owns ports, construction companies, casinos, and several very lucrative illegal businesses I won't bore you with. He's worth approximately $3 billion. And he's engaged. The world tilted. What? Engaged. To be married. To Lucia Calabrese, daughter of Marco Calabrese. It's an arranged marriage, yes, but one he agreed to. The wedding is in 3 months. You're lying. I'm not, and I can prove it. She pulled out her phone, showed me a photo. Dante in a tuxedo, standing next to a stunning woman in a white dress, his arm around her waist, both of them smiling at the camera. This was taken 2 months ago, Daniela said, at their engagement party, which he attended, willingly. I couldn't breathe. Get out. I know this is hard to hear. Get the fuck out of my apartment. Ms. Reyes, I'm trying to help you. My brother is a dangerous man. He's also a selfish one. He's been using you to avoid his responsibilities, to pretend he's someone he's not. But the truth is, he can never be with you. Our family would never allow it. And even if they did, do you really think you could survive in his world? I don't care about his world. Exactly. Which is why this can never work. She put her phone away. I'm offering you a way out. Leave now, before you get hurt worse. I'll even make it worth your while. Say, $50,000? Consider it a thank you for keeping him occupied while we sorted out some family business. The number was staggering. $50,000 could change my life. Pay off debt, quit one of my jobs, maybe even go back to school. But it also meant admitting that everything Dante and I had shared was a transaction, that I was worth exactly $50,000 of inconvenience. Get out, I said again. Daniela sighed. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. He's going to hurt you, worse than this, because he can't choose you, Ms. Reyes. The family won't allow it. And Dante, for all his rebellious posturing, is ultimately a dutiful son. He'll go back to his fiancée, he'll marry her, and you'll be nothing but a pleasant memory of his last bit of freedom. Then at least I'll be a memory. She looked at me like I was something pitiful. Suit yourself, but don't say I didn't warn you. She left. I closed the door and sank to the floor, shaking. Engaged. $3 billion. Head of a crime family. Every word felt like a bullet. I wanted to believe she was lying. Wanted to think it was some elaborate scheme to break us up for reasons I didn't understand. But the photo, the detail, the casual way she'd said it all, like it was common knowledge, and Dante's refusal to tell me the truth himself. He was engaged, he'd lied about everything, and I'd been stupid enough to believe him. My phone rang, Dante's name on the screen. I answered. Marin, thank God. I've been trying to reach you for days. Are you okay? Are you... Is it true? Silence. Is it true? I asked again. Are you engaged? Marin, answer the question. It's complicated. It's a yes or no question, Dante. More silence. Then, yes. The word broke something in me. Something I didn't know could break any further. How long? What? How long have you been engaged? 6 months. But I didn't. It's not 6 months. I laughed, and it sounded hysterical even to my own ears. You've been engaged for 6 months. It's an arrangement. I don't love her. I've never loved her. It's just business, family politics, and I was what? Your last hurrah? Your bit of fun before you settled down with your billionaire fiancé? No, you were never. You're not. Save it. Tears were streaming down my face. Your sister already explained everything. The family, the money, the illegal businesses, the fact that I'm just a distraction from your real life. She came to see you? Fuck. Marin, whatever she said, was it true? Any of it? He was quiet. Then, yes, but not the way she made it sound. I do run my family's business. I am engaged to Lucia, but it's not. I don't want that life. I don't want her. I want you. But you can't have me. I can. I will. I just need time to. To what, Dante? To figure out how? To explain to your billionaire family that you want to marry the fat waitress instead of the appropriate heir? To find a way to make me fit into a world that would eat me alive? You're stronger than you think. And you're more of a coward than I thought. He made a sound like I'd punched him. Marin, please, don't do this. Don't throw away what we have because you lied? Because you're engaged to someone else? Because you've been playing house with me while you have a whole other life I knew nothing about? My voice broke. What exactly should I not throw away, Dante? Us. This. What we feel for each other. That's real. That's the only real thing in my entire life. But it's not enough. It could be, if you just. What? Trust you? I did that. I trusted you completely. And you lied. I know. I know I fucked up. I know I should have told you the truth from the beginning. But I was scared. Scared that if you knew who I really was, you'd look at me the way everyone else does. Like I'm just money and power and a name, not a person, not someone worth loving for myself. So you made me fall in love with a ghost. No, you fell in love with me. The real me. The person I am when I'm with you. That's not fake. That's the only version of myself I actually like. But it's not the whole truth. No, but it's the truth that matters. I closed my eyes. I can't do this. Marin, I can't love someone who won't be honest with me. I can't be with someone who's engaged to someone else. I can't keep hoping for a future that you can't give me. I can give it to you. I will give it to you. Just give me a chance to. Goodbye, Dante. I hung up before he could respond. Then I turned off my phone, curled up on my bed, and cried until I couldn't anymore. I went back to work the next week. Rosie didn't ask questions, just handed me my schedule and a sympathetic look. Rayanne made me eat a proper meal before my shift and threatened to fight anyone who made me cry. I appreciated it, even though I knew the person who'd made me cry wasn't someone she could fight. The diner felt different without Dante. Emptier. Every time the door chimed, I looked up expecting to see him. Every time it wasn't, something in my chest tightened a little more. On my third night back, his usual booth stayed empty. On my fourth night, someone else sat in it. By the second week, I'd almost convinced myself I was over it. that it had been a brief, intense thing that didn't mean anything, that I was better off. Then the flowers started arriving. The first bouquet was delivered to the diner. Roses, 2 dozen of them, deep red and perfect. The card said, "I'm sorry, D." I threw them away. The second bouquet arrived at my apartment, lilies this time, with a card that said, "Please talk to me." I left them in the hallway for my neighbor. The third bouquet came with a handwritten letter. "Marin, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to understand why I lied. When I was 23, I fell in love with a woman named Isabella. She was everything I thought I wanted. Beautiful, from a good family, interested in me for more than my money. Or so I thought. We got engaged. My family approved. Everything was perfect. Except she wasn't in love with me. She was in love with my cousin. And when I found out, when I confronted them, my cousin had her killed. Made it look like a rival family attack. Sent a message to me and to everyone else in our world. The Valenti name comes first. Always. I couldn't prove it. Couldn't do anything except bury her and pretend to grieve for the appropriate amount of time. My family expected me to move on. To marry someone appropriate. To continue the legacy. I refused. For 13 years, I refused. Until 6 months ago, when my mother threatened to disown my younger sister if I didn't agree to the engagement with Lucia. Elena is 19. She wants to go to college, study art, live a normal life. If I don't marry Lucia, my mother will force Elena to marry one of Calabrese's sons instead. So I said yes. I agreed to the engagement. I agreed to the wedding. I agreed to everything they wanted. And then I met you. And for the first time in 13 years, I remembered what it felt like to be seen as a person instead of a name, to be wanted for myself instead of what I could provide, to feel something real. I should have told you all of this. I should have been honest from the beginning. But I was terrified that if you knew the truth, you'd look at me the way everyone else does. Or worse, you'd run, and I'd lose the only good thing in my life. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking for another chance. I'm just asking you to know the truth. All of it. I love you. I love you in a way I've never loved anyone, including Isabella. I love your strength and your humor and your compassion. I love the way you see the world and the way you make me want to be better than I am. And I know I can't have you. I know I've burned every bridge, broken every promise, destroyed every bit of trust. But I needed you to know. You matter. You changed me. And even if I spend the rest of my life married to someone I don't love, I'll never forget the time I spent being loved by you. Dante. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in my notebook next to the half-finished story about the woman and the shadow man, and I cried, because I believed him, every word, and that somehow made it worse. Loving him had been hard enough when I thought he was just a truck driver with secrets. Knowing he was a man trapped by his family, using me as an escape, choosing his sister's freedom over his own happiness, that was unbearable. Because I understood it. Would have done the same thing in his position. And I hated that I understood. 3 weeks after I last saw him, my mother called. "You need to come to dinner," she said. "I have someone I want you to meet." "I'm busy." "You're never busy. Just come. Sunday, 6 p.m. "Mom, it's not a request, Marin." She hung up before I could argue. I should have said no, should have stood my ground. But I was too tired to fight, and honestly, the distraction sounded nice. So on Sunday, I showed up at my mother's house in the same dress I'd worn to my cousin's wedding 3 years ago, the only nice thing I owned, and prepared myself for another evening of passive-aggressive comments about my weight and my life choices. Instead, I walked into the dining room and found Dante sitting at the table. I froze. He stood up, looking as shocked as I felt. He was wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car. His hair was freshly cut. He looked like a stranger, except for his eyes. Those were the same. "What the fuck is this?" I asked my mother. "Language, Marin." She smiled, pleased with herself. "Mr. Valenti contacted me a few weeks ago. We've been having some lovely conversations about your future." "My future?" Dante found his voice. Mrs. Reyes, perhaps Marin and I could speak privately. Nonsense. We're all adults here. We can discuss this like civilized people. My mother gestured to the table. Sit, Marin. Let's eat. I looked at Dante. He looked back, pleading and apologetic, and something else I couldn't identify. I'm leaving, I said. Sit down. My mother's voice went hard. Do you have any idea what kind of opportunity this is? Do you have any idea how many women would kill to be in your position? I don't care about his money. Well, you should, because it's the only thing you have going for you. She said it casually, like she was commenting on the weather. You're 28, overweight, working dead-end jobs. You have no prospects, no future, nothing to offer except the ability to breed. And somehow, miraculously, you've attracted the attention of one of the wealthiest men in the country. So sit down. Dante's jaw tightened. Mrs. Reyes, I understand you want what's best for your daughter, but speaking to her that way is none of your business, yet. My mother smiled at him. Though I'm sure once you're married, you'll understand the difficulty of managing someone as willful as Marin. Married? My voice came out strangled. That's why we're here, isn't it? My mother looked between us. Mr. Valenti has made it very clear that he wants to marry you. He's offered a very generous settlement, and I've accepted on your behalf. You did what? Oh, don't be dramatic. It's a good match. He has money, you have, well, you have youth still, for a few more years. It works out nicely for everyone. I looked at Dante. Tell me you didn't do this. He ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair, destroying the careful arrangement. It's not, this isn't how I wanted to do this. But you did do it. You went to my mother. You made an arrangement. The realization hit me like a truck. You bought me. No, Marin, no, that's not. How much? I turned to my mother. How much did he offer you? She had the grace to look slightly uncomfortable. $200,000, and the guarantee of continued financial support for both of us, pending the marriage. Continued support? He's been paying your bills for the last month, dear. The rent, the car payment, the credit card debt, all of it. I thought you knew. I couldn't breathe. You've been paying my bills? Dante stood up. I wanted to help. You were working yourself to death, and I had the means to control me, to make sure I needed you. No, I just wanted to make your life easier. I don't care what you wanted. I was shaking now, rage and humiliation and heartbreak all churning together. You can't just throw money at problems and expect them to disappear. You can't buy me like I'm another piece of property to add to your collection. That's not what this is, isn't it? You couldn't have me the way you wanted, so you went behind my back and made a deal with my mother, like I'm a commodity to be negotiated over. Marin, please, just listen. I'm done listening to you. I turned to leave. My mother grabbed my arm. Don't be stupid, she hissed. Do you have any idea what he's offering? Financial security for life. No more working 3 jobs, no more struggling. You'd be set. I'd be bought. So? Everyone's bought by someone eventually. At least this buyer is attractive and rich. I pulled my arm free. Fuck you. Marin Elizabeth Reyes. No, I've spent my entire life listening to you tell me I'm not good enough, that I'm too fat, too stupid, too disappointing. And I let you, because part of me believed it. But you know what? I'd rather be fat and poor and alone than spend one more second pretending that being wanted for my womb is the same as being loved. I walked out. This time, Dante followed. Marin, wait! I spun around on my mother's front lawn. What could you possibly have to say right now that would make any of this okay? Nothing. You're right. I fucked up. Again. I keep fucking up because I don't know how to do this. Do what? Love someone. He spread his arms. I've spent my entire life using money to solve problems. Buying loyalty, buying silence, buying whatever I needed. It's all I know. And when I couldn't have you, when I'd lost you, I fell back on the only tool I had. So you went to my mother, the one person in my life who's made me feel worthless since I was 14. You made a deal with her. You paid my bills without my knowledge or consent. You tried to arrange a marriage like we're living in the fucking Middle Ages. I know how it looks. It looks like you think I can be bought. I don't think that. I think you're incredible and strong and worth everything I have. I think you deserve to never worry about money. Again, I think you think you can fix me with a checkbook. He stopped. What? You think I'm broken, that I need to be rescued, that without your money and protection and interference, I'll just wallow in poverty forever. That's not. It is. You looked at me and saw someone to save, someone who needed you. And maybe that made you feel good, made you feel noble, but it's not love, Dante. It's pity. I don't pity you. Then what do you call paying my bills without asking? Going to my mother? Trying to buy me from her like I'm a piece of furniture? I call it desperation. His voice rose. I call it being so fucking in love with you that I can't think straight. I call it watching you work yourself to exhaustion while I sit on billions of dollars that could make your life better. I call it being an idiot who thought maybe, just maybe, if I could take care of you, you'd let me back in. By taking away my choice? By making decisions for me? I know. I know it was wrong. I know I keep doing the wrong thing. He stepped closer. But I don't know what the right thing is. I don't know how to be with you without my family trying to destroy it. I don't know how to give you the life you deserve while living the life I'm stuck with. I don't know how to choose you without condemning my sister to the same prison I'm in. Tears ran down my face. Then maybe we can't be together. Don't say that. Why not? It's the truth. Your world and mine don't mix, Dante. You're a billionaire crime boss with a family that wants you married to someone appropriate. I'm a fat waitress with debt and a mother who'd sell me for $200,000. There's no version of this where it works. There could be, if you'd just, what? Let you pay for everything? Let you control my life? Let you make me into someone who fits your world? I don't want you to change. I love you exactly as you are. But you can't have me as I am. That's the problem. You want me to be your secret, your escape, your rebellion. But you also want me to be acceptable to your family, grateful for your money, content with whatever scraps of time you can spare from your real life. That's not fair, isn't it? Tell me honestly, Dante. If you had to choose right now between me and your family, what would you choose? He opened his mouth, closed it. The silence was answer enough. That's what I thought. I wiped my eyes. I can't be with someone who can't choose me, and I won't be with someone who thinks they can buy me. So that's it? We're done? We were done the moment you lied to me about who you were. This is just making it official. I walked to my car. He didn't follow this time, just stood on my mother's lawn, watching me leave with an expression that broke my heart all over again. Because I loved him, still loved him, would probably always love him. But love wasn't enough. Not when it came with lies and arrangements and a future where I'd always be the inappropriate choice that had to be hidden or paid for or explained. I drove home, packed a bag, and quit all 3 of my jobs by text. Then I got in my car and drove. I didn't know where I was going. Didn't care. Just knew I needed to be somewhere else. Somewhere that didn't remind me of him. I made it about 100 miles before my car broke down. Of course it did. The universe had a sense of humor like that. I called AAA. Was told it would be 3 hours for a tow truck. Sat on the hood of my dead Honda on the side of a highway, watching the sunset, and laughed until I cried. This was my life. Dramatic exits ruined by mechanical failure. Grand gestures interrupted by reality. Always almost escaping, never quite making it. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered because what else was I going to do? Marin Reyes? Speaking. This is James Chen, attorney for Dante Valenti. I'm calling to inform you that your car loan has been paid in full. Additionally, A trust has been established in your name in the amount of $500,000 to be dispersed to you over the next 10 years. Mr. Valenti has instructed that you're to have no contact with him or his family and that this trust is unconditional. You may use it however you wish. I couldn't speak. Ms. Reyes? Why? I managed. Mr. Valenti left a message for you. Would you like me to read it? Yes. It says, "You were right. I was trying to buy you, even though I didn't see it that way. I was trying to fix you, even though you were never broken. I was trying to make you need me, because I couldn't accept that you might choose me just for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of it. This money is yours, no strings attached. Consider it back pay for the emotional labor of loving an idiot. Go write your stories. Go chase your dreams. Go be the person you would have been if you'd never met me. And know that even though I fucked everything up, you changed my life. You made me want to be better. I'm sorry I couldn't figure out how." I sat there on the hood of my now paid-off car, crying into the phone while a lawyer I'd never met awkwardly waited. "Ms. Reyes, is there anything else you need?" "No, thank you." I hung up. $500,000. Enough to go back to school. Enough to quit working for a while and just write. Enough to start over. Bought and paid for by a man who claimed he loved me. I should have been angry. Should have refused the money. Should have tracked him down and thrown it in his face. But I was too tired. Too tired to fight. Too tired to protest. Too tired to pretend I didn't need the help. So I called AAA back, upgraded to a immediate tow, and used the first bit of my newfound wealth to get a hotel room for the night. And then, alone in a highway motel with scratchy sheets and loud neighbors, I opened my notebook. And I started writing. Not the story about the lighthouse, not the story about the shadow man. New story. About a woman who learned she was worth more than she'd been taught. About a man who had everything except the thing he wanted most. About love that was real, but not enough. About choices that hurt and freedom that cost everything. I wrote until dawn, until my hand cramped and my eyes burned and my heart felt a little less broken. And when I finished, I slept. For the first time in years, I slept without dreaming of what I'd lost. I rented an apartment in a city I'd never been to before. Used some of the trust money for first and last month's rent. Furniture that didn't smell like other people's lives. A desk by the window. I quit the diner. Quit the data entry. Quit the call center. I bought a new laptop. And I wrote. Every day, I wrote. Stories that poured out of me like water from a broken dam. Stories I'd been holding in for 10 years. Stories about women who were fat and beautiful, broken and whole, lost and found. Stories about love and loss and learning to choose yourself. I didn't call my mother. Didn't answer when she called me. I didn't look for news about Dante. Didn't Google his wedding or his business or his life. I just wrote. 3 months passed. Then 6. I finished my first novel, sent it to agents, got rejected 43 times, sent it out 44 more times, got 4 requests for full manuscripts, got an offer, sold my book, got a small advance, not life-changing, but enough to prove that maybe, possibly, I could do this, could be a writer, could make something of the mess I'd lived through. I should have been happy, should have been celebrating. Instead, I sat in my apartment and stared at the contract and thought about Dante. Because I wanted to tell him, wanted to call him up and say, I did it. I finished the book. I'm going to be a published author. Wanted to hear him say he was proud of me. But I couldn't. Because that wasn't our relationship anymore. Because he was probably married by now. Because I'd chosen my freedom over his love, and there was no going back. So I called Rayanne instead. You did what? She shrieked. You sold a fucking book? Language, I said, smiling. Fuck language. You're going to be a published author. Marin, that's incredible. It's small press, not much money. It might not even. Stop. Right now. This is amazing and you know it. And she was right. It was amazing. The fact that something I'd created was going to exist in the world, was going to be read by strangers, was going to matter. That was everything I'd dreamed about. Thank you, I said, for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Always, honey. Always. We talked for an hour. She caught me up on diner gossip, told me Tommy had gotten sober and apologized to everyone he'd ever been an asshole to, told me Rosie was thinking about retiring, told me the late-night crowd wasn't the same without me. What about... I stopped myself. About who? Never mind. If you're asking about him, he hasn't been back. Not since you left. Rayanne's voice softened. I don't know where he is or what he's doing, but I hope he's okay, for what it's worth. Yeah, me too. I hung up and tried not to think about what Dante was doing. Tried not to imagine him married to Lucia, living the life his family had planned, regretting everything. Tried not to wonder if he ever thought about me. 2 months later, my book came out. It was a small release, no marketing budget, no book tour, just me and my words, and the hope that someone, somewhere would read it and feel less alone. I had a launch party at a local bookstore. 3 people showed up: Rayanne, who drove 6 hours to be there, and 2 strangers who'd seen the event posted online. It was perfect. I read the first chapter aloud, signed 3 books, took a photo with Rayanne that made us both cry. And then I went home, exhausted and happy, and proud of myself in a way I'd never been before. There was a package waiting at my door. No return address. Just my name and handwriting I recognized even though I'd only seen it once, on a letter I still kept in my notebook. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a first edition of Beloved by Toni Morrison, signed, with a note tucked inside. Marin, I read your book. I bought 50 copies, gave them to everyone I know, put them in little free libraries, left them in coffee shops with notes saying, read this. It's beautiful, raw and honest and painful and hopeful. Like you. I'm proud of you. Prouder than I have words for. I know I have no right to be. I know I lost the privilege of being in your life. But I needed you to know that I'm watching from a distance, cheering you on, hoping you're happy. I'm not married. I called it off 3 weeks before the wedding. Told my family I wouldn't do it. Told them I'd rather lose everything than spend my life lying about who I loved. They disowned me. Took the business, the money, the name, all of it. I don't regret it. I bought a truck, an actual truck, and I'm driving it, cross-country, hauling legal goods for legal companies, making an honest living. It's not much, but it's mine, and it's real. I think you'd be proud of that. Or maybe you wouldn't care. Either way, I wanted you to know. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for another chance. I'm just asking you to know that you were right. About everything. And that loving you was the best thing I ever did, even though I did it badly. Keep writing. Keep fighting. Keep being exactly who you are. D.P.S. The Morrison is a gift, not a payment. You can't be bought, remember? This is just one writer appreciating another. I read the note 7 times. Then I opened the book and found the inscription Morrison had written to some unknown reader decades ago. You are your own story. I sat on my apartment floor and cried. Not sad tears, not happy tears, just release. Because he'd let me go. Really let me go. No manipulation, no grand gestures, no attempts to buy his way back in. Just a gift from someone who cared, and a goodbye that felt like closure. I didn't respond, didn't try to find him, didn't look up whether he was really driving trucks or if that was another story. I just put the book on my shelf and went back to writing. Because that's what I did now. I wrote. And I was good at it. And I was happy. And that was enough. A year later, my phone rang at 2 in the morning. I answered it half asleep, expecting it to be a wrong number. Marin? I sat up. Dante? I'm sorry. I know it's late. I know I have no right to call. But I needed to hear your voice. Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm good. I just, I was driving through your old neighborhood, stopped at the diner out of habit, and Rayanne told me about your book signing next week, the big one, in the city. Yeah, my publisher is doing a whole thing, national tour. That's incredible. Marin, I'm so fucking proud of you. Thank you. Silence. Then, can I come? To the signing? Dante. I know. I know it's asking too much. But I just want to see you happy, see you living the life you deserve. I won't approach you, won't make it weird. I'll just be there, in the back, cheering you on. I should have said no, should have kept the distance we'd built, should have protected myself. But it had been a year, and I'd done the work, therapy, writing, rebuilding my relationship with myself. And I was stronger now, strong enough to see him without falling apart. Okay, I said. You can come. Really? Really? But Dante? Yeah? I'm bringing someone. Silence. Then, oh. His name is Marcus. He's a teacher. We've been seeing each other for a few months. He's good to me. That's good. That's, that's what you deserve. I know. I paused. Are you happy? Really? I'm getting there. It's hard work, building an honest life, after living a lie for so long. But I'm trying, and some days that's enough. Good, keep trying. I will. And Marin? Yeah? Thank you. For answering. For letting me hear your voice. For not hating me. I never hated you. You should have. Maybe. But I didn't. I just let you go. Best thing you could have done. We said goodbye. I hung up and sat in the dark, processing. Marcus stirred next to me. Who was that? An old friend. The one from the book? The one you based Dante on? I'd told Marcus about my past, about the man I'd loved and lost, about the book that had come from that pain. Yeah, that one. And? And he's happy. I'm happy. We're both moving forward. Good. Marcus pulled me close. That's good. And it was. The book signing was packed. 200 people, maybe more. My publisher was thrilled. I was overwhelmed. I read from my second book, the one I'd just finished, about a woman who learns to forgive herself, answered questions, signed books until my hand cramped, and in the back, exactly where he said he'd be, was Dante. Older now, thinner, dressed in worn jeans and a flannel shirt that looked authentically broken in instead of expensive distressed. He looked like a man who worked with his hands, who earned his living honestly, who'd chosen the hard path and was making it work. He looked beautiful. Our eyes met across the crowded bookstore. He smiled, small, genuine, proud. I smiled back. Then I turned back to my readers, to the people who'd come to hear my story, to the life I'd built from the ashes of what we'd been. And I was happy. Not despite everything that had happened, not in spite of the pain and the lies and the loss, but because of it. Because Dante had been right about one thing. I'd survived. And that survival had made me stronger, made me who I was meant to be. After the signing, Marcus and I went to dinner. He held my hand across the table and told me he was proud of me, told me he loved watching me shine. And I believed him, because I'd learned, finally, how to tell the difference between real love and the illusion of it. Real love didn't require lies to survive. Real love didn't need to be bought or negotiated. Real love chose you, clearly and without hesitation. And I deserved real love. We all do. 3 years later, I got an invitation in the mail. Dante Valenti and Marin Reyes request the honor of your presence. I stared at it, confused. Then I saw the note attached. This isn't real. I'm not getting married. But I wanted you to have this anyway. Proof that in some universe, we got it right. That we figured out how to choose each other without lies or money or fear. I know that's not our universe. I know we don't get that ending. But I like to imagine it sometimes. And I thought you might too. I'm still driving trucks, still making honest money, still trying to be the man you made me want to be. And I'm happy. Not every day. Not perfectly. But mostly. I hope you are too. D. I showed it to Marcus, who'd moved in with me 6 months ago, who'd proposed last week, who was patient and kind and real in all the ways I needed. That's sweet? And kind of sad? He studied my face. How does it make you feel? Honestly? Grateful. For what? For the fact that I got to love him. For the fact that it ended when it did, before we destroyed each other. For the fact that we both grew from it. I tucked the invitation into my notebook. And for the fact that I found you after. He kissed me. I love you. I love you too. And I meant it. Because I'd learned that love isn't a finite resource. That loving Dante didn't mean I couldn't love Marcus. That my heart was big enough for all of it, the past, the present, the hope for the future. I never saw Dante again after the book signing, but I thought about him sometimes. Wondered if he was still driving trucks, if he was happy, if he ever found someone who could love him without all the complications our love had come with. I hoped he had, because everyone deserves that. Even men who lie to find truth. Even women who are taught they're not worth choosing. Even people who fuck up spectacularly and spend years trying to make it right. We all deserve love. Real, honest, complicated, imperfect love. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is let someone go. So they can find it. So you can find it. So everyone can move forward into the life they're meant to live. I married Marcus on a Tuesday in April. We had a small ceremony in a bookstore, the same one where I'd had my first signing, where Dante had stood in the back and smiled at me like I'd hung the moon. Rayanne was my maid of honor. She cried through the entire ceremony. My mother didn't come. We hadn't spoken in 3 years. I was okay with that. Marcus said his vows first, promised to love me, support me, choose me every day. Then it was my turn. Marcus, I began, my voice shaking. You taught me that I don't have to earn love, that I'm worthy exactly as I am, that my value isn't determined by my body or my past or my mother's opinion. You taught me that love can be simple. Not easy, but simple. No lies, no complications, no hidden agendas. You taught me that choosing someone every day is a gift, not a burden. I promise to choose you, every day, in every way, for as long as we both shall live. We kissed, people clapped. I became Mrs. Marin Reyes Chen, author and wife and woman who knew her worth. And as I walked down the aisle, hand in hand with my husband, I felt it. Peace. The kind that comes from knowing you're exactly where you're supposed to be, with exactly who you're supposed to be with, living exactly the life you're meant to live. 5 years after that, my phone rang at 2 a.m. I'd learned to turn it off at night, so it went to voicemail. But in the morning, I checked. Marin, it's me. I know you're probably married. Now. Probably have kids. Probably have the life you always deserved. I hope you do. I really, really hope you do. I just wanted to tell you that I finished it. Paid off my debts, the illegal ones anyway. Reconciled with my sister. Made peace with my mother, as much as that's possible. Built a life I'm proud of. I own a small trucking company now. Legal, all of it. Got 6 trucks, 12 drivers. We haul goods cross-country. It's honest work. Good work. And I met someone. Her name is Sarah. She's a mechanic. Smart, funny, doesn't take my shit. She knows about my past. All of it. And she loves me anyway. We're getting married next month. I wanted you to know. Not to make you jealous or sad or anything like that. Just to say thank you. For showing me what real love looked like. For teaching me that I was worth loving for myself, not my money or my name. I wouldn't have Sarah if I hadn't had you first. Wouldn't have known what to look for. What to fight for. So thank you. And goodbye, Marin. For real this time. I hope you're happy. I hope you're writing. I hope you're loved the way you deserve to be loved. Dante. I listened to the message 3 times. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger or pain, but out of respect for the life I'd built. The husband sleeping next to me. The 2 books I'd published since the first. The daughter growing in my belly, due in 4 months. I didn't need Dante's closure or gratitude or goodbye. I'd already said goodbye years ago. And I'd meant it. Marcus stirred, reached for me in the dark. You okay? Perfect, I said. And I was. Because this was my story. Not Dante's. Not my mother's. Not anyone else's. Mine. And I'd written it exactly the way I wanted it to end. With love. With honesty. With a life full of words and meaning and people who chose me clearly, without hesitation, without lies. I'd written my happy ending. And unlike the stories in my books, this one was real.